What's the Church of Scientology so afraid of?
This is SPTV.
Aaron is here with SPTV's coverage of day one of the Danny Masterson trial. Guys, we have a Mondays with Mike and Mark scheduled to begin in about 28 minutes. I've programmed this live stream to auto direct to the scheduled live stream that's about to begin, so you don't have to go searching for it. And we are going to be talking about the trial. Me, Mike, and Mark are going to be talking about the trial. Claire's not going to be a part of the chat so that we can talk about the trial. Just real quick, let me check my audio, make sure the microphone that is supposed to be working is working. Okay, we are good. Guys, so much happened today. I'm calling this day one, by the way, because jury selection to me doesn't count as far as counting the days. Today is day one. And the closing statements were completed by the prosecution and the defense. Both sides finished closing statements. Opening statements were finished by the prosecution and the defense. Opening statements were completed with 25 minutes left to go for court for the day. And I thought for sure the judge was going to let everybody go. And she said, call the first witness. And the first witness wasn't there. At least not right there, because no one actually thought she was going to get on. You know, by the time lunchtime rolled around, we were like, no one really thought the first Jane Doe 3 is the first one to testify right now. Anyway, they went and got her. They brought her in, and she testified for 15 minutes. Guys, I've got so many notes here, but I've got highlights for you. So here's what I want to highlight. The day began before court even started. I got there super early because it was my first day there. I had to get my press pass. I had to figure out where how to get through security, where the food was, where the courtroom was, and all that stuff. So I was there quite early. When Leah Remini arrived to the 9th floor, which is where the courtroom is, as I was walking up to her, lean in for a hug, this guy walks up, says, "You've been served," and throws an envelope at her. She didn't touch the envelope. She never got the envelope. The envelope sat on the floor for about 15 minutes. There was a lot of discussions as to who was going to touch the envelope, what we were going to do with the envelope. Was it going to go in the trash? Where was this envelope going to go? Anyway, it turns out the defense, actually Sean Hawley, was serving Leah Remini with paperwork to try to bar her from entering the courtroom. And there was some other requests in there for, requests that had already been denied by the court many, many times. Requests for behind the scenes footage of the episode of the Leah Remini show where more than one of Danny Masterson's victims were interviewed. They wanted outtakes, trying to get stuff that they could impeach the testimony of the Jane Does with. Of course, they're never going to get it's media, it's protected, it's privileged documents. They were never going to get it. And so then when the day started, when court actually started, Sean Hawley got up and she tried to get the judge to kick Leah Remini out of the courtroom, tried to get the judge to kick the Jane Doe's lawyers out of the courtroom. And the judge was having none of it. Judge Almeida was having absolutely none of it. Okay, let's see. Philip Cohen then tries to get the judge to rule that the Jane Does may not be referred to as victims. They may only be referred to as accusers. And it took everything in Judge Almeida's being not to outright laugh in his face, but she pretty much did the equivalent of that. And then Cohen had the audacity to tell the judge that she had already ruled. She had already ruled that this was to be this way in the previous trial. And she said, I would never make such a ruling. And Almeida kept arguing with her. Philip Cohen kept arguing with her about it. And she got downright. I shouldn't say mad because that sounds unprofessional. She was exceedingly professional. And as a professional way, as a judge can be mad at a lawyer in the courtroom, Judge Almeida was pulling no punches and she's taking no BS. Let's see. I got to tell you, the opening statements were nothing like what I expected based on what I've seen on television. I expected them to be concise. They were the exact opposite of concise. I mean, both sides literally went through pretty much, at least as I viewed it. I've spoken to some other attorneys who viewed it differently. Basically gave the entire testimony of each Jane Doe and each witness. because there's witnesses that are victims that are not charged victims in this case. It was excruciating. I'm just going to say it was excruciating. The process itself, I'm not talking about the performance of either side. Every side seemed to be doing a pretty damn good job, but it is long and it is detailed and it is extensive and it is complicated. And I thought both sides did a good job making it as uncomplicated as possible. But I'll tell you, time takes its toll. Time takes its toll. And I don't mind telling you guys that there were people in the audience falling asleep. Danny Masterson was falling asleep. There was people in Danny Masterson's little posse that were falling asleep. I saw 4 potential jurors nodding off because it is so tedious. It's just the nature of the thing. It's just the nature of the thing. So anyway, that was just interesting, a little different than what I expected. Let me see some other, by the way, what time? I'm going to keep my eye on the clock here. And by the way, I'm looking at my notes, so I'm kind of ignoring the chat here, guys. But I promise you, as soon as I finish my notes, I will jump over to the chat. Let's see. Looking at my notes here. So even this point about Philip Cohen trying to get the judge to basically telling her that she had ruled this way in the previous trial. When we came back from lunch, the judge began the proceedings by just saying, Mr. Cohen, I just want to inform you, I've pulled the transcript from the previous trial. And she read the whole portion about this conversation of whether the victims would be referred to as victims or alleged victims or accusers. And anyway, she confirmed that she was right. Philip Cohen was wrong. The rules on what the victims were going to be called in the last trial were agreed upon beforehand or agreed upon, in the process between both sides. It was not a ruling by the judge. Anyway, Philip Cohen was getting spanked regularly all day long. I'm going to get to some other examples of that in a moment here. Okay, the prosecution had what I thought was an incredibly effective slide deck that they had up on the screen, that the Deputy DA Reinhold Mueller was going through this slide deck, this slide presentation, as he was doing his entire opening statement. And what I found, certain things might impact me differently than just anybody else. He had photographs in this slide deck of every Sea Org member that he made reference to, who the Jane Does dealt with during their process of reporting Danny to the Scientology authorities, being told that they were out, they pulled it in, being told that, Jane Doe 3 was told that she was out exchange if she didn't give Danny, what he wanted when he wanted it. So it was Scoggins. What was Miranda Scoggins and Chris Scoggins. Miranda Scoggins was the ethics officer at Celebrity Center. Chris Scoggins was, and it might be, I'm going to have to double check my notes to see if it's Chris Scoggins. My notes are really long. I don't want to look through them right now. She had photographs. They had photographs of these two people. Julian Schwartz, the notorious Julian Schwartz, probably one of the Sea Org members who has more, blood on his hands as far as being personally involved in crime. And knowing about covering up crimes and crimes against children and crimes against the elderly and financial crimes. No one has more blood on their hands, in my opinion, in the Sea organization than Julian Schwartz. I don't know how they did it, guys. They had a freaking photograph of Julian Schwartz. I've looked everywhere for a photograph of Julian Schwartz, and I haven't been able to find one. I hope when this trial's over, I can beg someone in the DA's office to give me that photo so I can use it in my videos. Because when I do videos about Julian Schwartz covering up abuse of children in Scientology, I want to be able to show his freaking ugly face in my videos. So I was excited to see that. Okay, let's see. I was blown away by this. I have been speculating whether we are going to be able to see the internal Scientology reports that were written about these attacks. If we're going to be able to see these pieces of evidence, if we're going to see these reports as evidence in this case. And in the slide deck that was being shown to the jurors and everybody was excerpts of these reports. And I don't know much, guys. I'm just a guy who grew up in a cult, but I'm thinking there's no way they would have been able to show excerpts of those reports in that slide deck if those reports were not going to be introduced as evidence. That's just my opinion. So that was very exciting to me. Let's see. Luke Watson. Luke Watson is someone who comes up a lot in all these things. I just made a note here that Luke Watson, the son of the president of the Celebrity Center, sure seems to be involved in an awful lot of raping. It's funny how that works. He just always seems to be on the periphery, always around when someone's getting raped. Anyway, one of these days, Luke Watson's going to have a come to Jesus moment. And yeah. Okay. So my understanding, let me just check the live chat in the stream, make sure everything's sort of as it should be. My understanding is that objecting while someone is making an opening statement or a closing statement is considered a little impolite. This might be more true on a closing statement than it is on an opening statement. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask my attorney friend, Zach Morgan, about that. But let me tell you something. There was only one objection made and sustained during the prosecution's opening statement. During Philip Cohen's opening statement, there were 16 sustained objections. It was a shit show. It was a shit show. At one point, the judge had to send the jury out of the room and really ripped Cohen a new one. And in the process of doing this, Cohen was being argumentative. And at one point, he said, Your Honor, hold on. And Judge Almeida said to him, don't you ever tell me to hold on. I mean, it was, I might have squeaked a little when she said that, but you know, you're not supposed to really show any emotion when you're in there, especially if you're one of the press people. So guys, it was gnarly. It was gnarly. Let me see. What else do I have here? So I noticed that in the entire opening statement, there was not only did the named victims all have extensive portions of the opening statement dedicated to them, but even some of the witnesses who are not named victims, like Kathleen from Canada, for example. One person who was not mentioned at all was Trisha Vesey, who in the first trial was Jane Doe number 4. And again, not a charged victim, but she was testifying as a witness, as someone who had been attacked by Danny. And she testified in the first case. I did not hear her name mentioned once all day by the prosecution or the defense. I have to infer that she's not testifying, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that. Okay, let's see. Oh my God, there was one funny thing. So, you know, the defense had already tried to get Leah kicked out of the courtroom at least once. And then when it was Cohen's turn to do his opening statements, and he had this big board that had the photos that are supposed to prove that Jane Doe 1 never had any bruises on her or whatever. And he put the photo on this big whiteboard that was like on the side of the courtroom opposite from where the gallery is sitting. And Leah Remini is sitting in the first row of the gallery. And then he, I guess he thought the better of it. And he walked over to that whiteboard and he took his big giant chart off of the whiteboard and he put up an easel right in front of Leah Remini's face. And he just stuck that chart right on her face so that no one in the jury could see her. And I was like, okay, Philip Cohen, you guys are pretty petty. He did move the chart after about 10 minutes, but I felt like that was probably a bit targeted there. Let me see. There's another thing I noted here that I want to say. So the victim in Canada, she's testifying in this case. Her ex-husband's even testifying in this case. She's flying all the way down here for it. It was said in the statements today that she actually went to the Toronto police and filed an official report up there. Now, guys, my information about what I'm about to say is only as good as what's been given to me. It's as valuable as what you're paying for it. I am to understand that it is possible Danny may face charges in a trial in Canada for the attack on Kathleen in Canada that occurred in Vancouver back in 2000. It is my understanding that that case and investigation is open. And there's nothing precluding the Canadian authorities from bringing that case. I wonder if it's possible that they are maybe even waiting to see if Danny is found guilty here in the States before going, well, they found him guilty. Let's try him here as well. That's something I haven't heard I haven't heard that mentioned. I haven't heard the possibility of this discussed, but it seems to me to be a very real possibility based on some information that I've received. Let me see. Okay, those are my highlights. What time is it? 4:46. We got a little bit of time. Let me jump over to the chitty chatty section, the live chat here. By the way, guys, what do you think of my recording setup here? It is much better than I thought it would be. It is much better. I mean, honestly, for some reason, the picture quality here looks even better than it does when I'm at home. And I'm on a Wi-Fi network right here. I'm not even hardwired into the internet like I am when I'm at home. Okay. If you guys have questions and you want to do non-super chats, make sure to start your question with the word question in all caps. Makes it very easy for me to see them. Okay, Colette says, question, do the lawyers speak like Bueller? They actually don't. I'll tell you, the first hour of the opening statement from Reinhold Mueller, I was like, well, actually, not. No, okay, let me get my thoughts. Reinhold Mueller actually was a lot of passion and force, and he's not soft. He's not a soft-spoken guy. I mean, look, I don't want to sound like I'm like, belittling compliments. Like, I don't know what I expected. I think what I expected from the way I've read about the case so far and just from his photo, I expect him to be sort of a tall, quiet, gentle figure. Nah, man, this dude's jacked. He looks big. He looks strong. He's tall. He's loud. He's forceful. He projects. It was just long. It wasn't boring. It wasn't droning. It wasn't monotonous. It was just long. I mean, it's like if you watch a 4-hour James Cameron movie, it's a great movie, but it's long. So you guys know what I mean. All right, let's see. Hey guys, if anyone's starting late, listen to me on 2x speed. I already talk pretty fast as it is, so that might be difficult. Okay, Anand says, I remember Chris Scoggins. Yeah, and it's funny because it's somebody totally different than who I thought it was. When I heard Chris Scoggins, I was thinking, I think Angelo Scazzi is who I was thinking. And again, I think there's a Scazzi that I knew. And I think Angelo might have even been the father of the Scazzi that I'm thinking of. Anyway, it just turns out that Chris Scoggins is not the person I thought he was this entire time. So, all right, let's see. Scrolling through the chat. Barb Sylvie. Guys, Barb Sylvie got the SPTV tattoo. She sent me photos. She sent me video. I posted the photo to Twitter and Facebook and my YouTube community tab. It is incredible. I am routinely blown away by the quality of artwork that tattoo artists do. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. And Barb's SPTV tattoo is incredible. I'll probably show it on the stream later this evening. Evening Osa, seen my tattoo, #SPTV. Amazing. All right, let's see. Oh, look, Goldie wants us to know. Blown for Good, Mark Headley, is about 200 subscribers away from 29,000. Amazing. Guys, Mark and Mike are kicking my butt in the subscriber game, you guys. I mean, I'm waiting for the month to flip over. I'm waiting for May 1st, and then I'm going to go on a campaign to try to get 10,000 new subscribers in the month of May because they are just whooping my butt. You know who's really whooping my butt? My friend Andrew Gold. That guy is a monster right now on the new subscribers. I don't know how he's doing it, but he's making me jealous every single day. So if you're watching this stream and you're not subscribed, please subscribe, guys. I need the love. All right, let's see. I'm scrolling through the chat, guys. I promise you, I'm scrolling. And remember, when I hit end on this stream, it's going to redirect you to the scheduled live stream that's scheduled to start in 10 minutes. Edwin Pitcher would like to know, gosh, Aaron, what brothel are you staying at? Wouldn't you like to know, Edwin? I'm actually staying at somewhat of a prestigious hotel. I'm not going to give the name of it. But I mean, I brought these lights with me from home. The chairs, that's a professional chair. This is not a brothel chair. What are you talking about, man? This is, they gave me a nice little corner room so I wouldn't like interrupt people with my recording my videos and stuff. Okay, let's see. Diana B, love the fireworks already. Go Judge. Oh my God, you guys. Okay. There is a Scientologist named Graham Brewer, and I know him from Clearwater from back in the day in the mid-90s. This guy's from South Africa. He was a public Scientologist. He's one of these guys they brought in to work on renovations. Like they paid him in training awards and stuff. Anyway, I knew him. He was a really good looking ladies man from South Africa. I'm not going to lie. Okay. There's just one problem. He molested a whole ton of girls at Flag. Well, guess who's in Danny's little posse of people sitting there supporting Danny? Graham Mother effing Brewer. So I saw him, and so we were on a break, and he's coming down the hallway, and I walk up to him and I go, you're Graham Brewer. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, do you remember me? He's like, no. Who are you? Who are you? I go, well, do you remember Jeff Pearlman? Jeff Pearlman? Who's Jeff Pearlman? He was the senior CS San Diego. You guys were friends. I was Jeff's friend. We did the renovations with you on the Clearwater Bank building. He's like, well, I remember the Clearwater Bank building. I'm like, you don't remember Jeff Pearlman? By the way, you might be like the point. Here's the point. Graham Brewer, one of the girls Graham Brewer molested as a child at Flag, is one of the victims in this case. Okay. And so I went up to, so I said to Graham, I just want to know, are you here for Danny or are you here for, I can't say her name, or are you here for Jane Doe? Are you here for Danny or are you here to intimidate Jane Doe? And he goes, Jane Doe. I'm just filling the name. I've never met Jane Doe. I go, oh, you never met Jane Doe? Wow, that's amazing. So you don't remember me? You don't remember Jeff Pearlman? And you don't even, you've never met Jane Doe before. He's like, that's what I just told you. I've never met Jane Doe. Anyway, see, Leah Remini dared me to go over and confront Graham about this. And then when Leah and I were at lunch, she goes, oh yeah, I can't believe you did that. I'm like, you told me to do it. She goes, yeah, but I didn't think you would do it. So anyway, I have never seen a Scientologist age so poorly as Graham Brewer. I mean, this guy is maybe 10 years older than me, and he looks like he's almost 70 years old. I'm 42, guys. So he should be, he looks not a day younger than 65, this guy. I don't know what happened to Graham Brewer, but maybe that's what happens when you're sitting on a whole mess of crimes for which you could be in prison. By the way, when they found out that he had molested all these young girls, all Scientologists, by the way, they put him on a plane and they sent him right back over to South Africa. I guess just until the statute of limitations expired, because then he wound up in California and he wound up being one of Danny Masterson's friends. Now, I wonder what Graham Brewer and Danny Masterson could have in common, why they just bonded so quickly and so deeply that 20 years later, Graham's one of the people showing up to court to support Danny Masterson. I would say predators know predators. That's what I would say. Okay, we're at 4:54. We've got a little bit of time left. I'm going to scroll through, guys. Try not to screw over anybody who did super chats. Let's see here. Okay, Andrew Gold, my friend, doing incredible work. We're all lucky to have you. Love it. Miss you. Oh my God, Andrew, I was just talking about you. I didn't even know you were here. I was just saying such great things about you. Andrew, we'll have to, on the weekend when I'm, on like going crazy and running back and forth from the courthouse, we'll have to do a little streamy. Thanks for the super chat, Andrew. And throw some subscribers my way, will you? Okay, that's actually, that's all the super chats. Oh, I did see a super sticker. I don't want to forget that. Oh, wait, what's this? Marjan. Can you do a freedom of information for the photos? It's a good question. I'm not sure if the Freedom of Information Act applies to exhibits used by the state in prosecution, but I have to imagine it's possible. So I'll look into that. I think the DA might just, when everything's said and done, just be willing to share that photo with me, to be honest. Okay. All right, guys, it's 4:56. I'm going to end the stream. Clearwater Chad says, great job, Aaron. Thank you, Clearwater Chad. Subscribe to Clearwater Chad. I'm going to end the stream. It's going to redirect you to our scheduled stream, and then we're going to pick it up. We're going to have a fantastic chat tonight, guys. So let's see. Here we go. Let me sign off. Talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then click right inside here. If you have 6 squares or not,